Anyway, we'll move on to the July Cup at Newmarket. Fantastic day. I'm not sure the result was what everyone was expecting with Harry Angel. We don't really know what went wrong with Caravaggio. He reared in the gates as he did at Ascot, but are we buying that excuse? What did we make of Caravaggio? And we're going to talk about the Nunthorpe as well. So let's just get our teeth stuck into the sprinters. Can we get some Nunthorpe betting before we reflect on the July Cup, please, Paddy?
We sure can. I think the Nunthorpe looks one of the most straightforward Group 1s this season, to be honest. You've got Lady Aurelia is very short price favourite. She's 8 to 11. I'm just looking around. There's a bit of 5 to 6 out there. 4 to 7 she's as short as that. Antipost even. It's 6 to 1 Batash. And then it's 10 to 1 Marsh. Caravaggio's a 14 to 1 shot. And it's just, it looks to be all about Lady Aurelia after the Ascot performance.
I think Caravaggio is more likely to go up in trip, isn't he? I know they've used the Maurice de Guice. It could be a target. Tom, what did you make of the July Cup and what do you reckon of the Nunthorpe going forward?
You are going to be able to call me Mr. Moan again now, Maddie, because I thought it was really disappointing.
Really?
Yeah. I was really looking forward to it because I think all our horses are bred to be sprinters these days. So I was looking forward to it being one of the, sort of the races of the season. And it just wasn't. Harry Angel was good. That's fine. But the time was desperately slow. Didn't even get a top speed of 100. The form in behind is no good. I don't care what anyone says. You got Growl and Intizarb and Brando's a perfectly reasonable horse. But behind Harry Angel, they're all in a heap. And it's just Caravaggio was just so disappointing. And I've just been writing about this for my Weekender column. I think there's 3 reasons why. One, people suggest that maybe it was the trip thing. I'm not buying that. Aidan O'Brien says that he's the fastest horse he's ever had. There's no possible way he's a neck better than his pacemaker Intelligence Cross. He just ran miles below form. I think that there are 2 reasons possible. One is that he bounced on the back of Ascot. Ascot was a really, really, really hard race. It was one of the slowest final furlongs of any race at Ascot this year. I thought he finished really tired. And the reason is he might have bounced is that Aidan before the race was talking about how he'd been really quiet on him. He'd hardly done any work with him because he wants to get him to Australia at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. I think he went through the pain barrier. I think he raced too hard at Ascot and left his race behind there. And the other thing is, we're going to talk. You mentioned Lady Aurelia there. Scat Daddy is the sire of Caravaggio. All his horses seem miles better at Ascot than anywhere else. If you go through he's an American stallion. He can't get a good horse in America. He can get reasonable horses, 110 horses. But all his best horses seem to run at Ascot. Caravaggio, Lady Aurelia, No Nay Never, Sioux Nation that won there this year, Acapulco. They all put up their best horse performances at Ascot. There's something about the track that suits him. I just don't think Caravaggio is the same horse away from there. We've seen him 2 outstanding performances with both at Ascot. So maybe that's another issue. So those are the 2 things I'd put it down to. I'd say that he maybe didn't like the track, and secondly, he might have bounced off the back of a very hard race at Ascot.
Interesting. I think he did exceptionally well to win at Ascot, given that he reared in the stalls. They set such a strong pace. He really had to go and get him, didn't they?
But that's why he won, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He won because he reared in the stalls, maybe.
Well,
because he wasn't involved in the pace duel and he could come through late on because it just melted down that Ascot race.
But it's one of the reasons why sprinters kind of share the spoils usually amongst themselves, don't they? Because everything has to happen right for you, in these big races.
Tiny margins,
isn't it? Yeah. Harry Angel was actually Harry Angel was actually very good. And at the July Cup, you had the likes of say Slade Power, say Lethal Force. July Cup is okay for front runners, isn't it? If you can dictate the pace, and Harry Angel just dictated the pace, and Ascot was exactly run the opposite of how Harry Angel would have wanted it, and Newmarket exactly so the opposite to Caravaggio base. Newmarket exactly how it run to suit. So Harry Angel's very good. It was a really good performance.
Yeah, I don't think Tom gave him the credit, Paddy. So I think you're doing the right thing.
I gave him some credit. I told him. I said he was a top class horse with a top class performance.
The race was rubbish.
Yes, but that doesn't make him rubbish, does it?
Well, true.
But do you think the 3-year-olds are better then? Because Lamado got beat. Is that just it? Are they just better?
Well, so far that's the evidence, isn't it? Yeah. Lady Aurelia won the King's Stand. Batash, as we're going to come on to, won the Sandown race. Coropic won that Grade 3 at Newcastle. I think every single sprint run so far where the 3-year-olds have taken on the older horses in Group Camel.
But if your theory is right about Ascot, actually, it'll make the Nunthorpe interesting because you've got an odds-on favourite.
Correct.
Jimmy, that is.
I don't want to back her at York. She didn't win there last year, did she?
Yeah,
right,
York's a front-running track.
We will crack on with York now, but I'm keen to let Watsy get a word in. You two have took over. What did you make of the July Cup? Are you with them in that you were disappointed, or do you think Harry Angel was a brilliant winner?
I thought it was good tactical thinking from Clive Cox. I think he learned a lot from the Ascot race. Harry Angel
they were
that
gutted,
day,
weren't they? I think it really told after Adam Kirby. He definitely. I mean, he said he's the best horse. He is the best, and he should have won.
well, he just got involved with the pacemaker intelligence cross at Ascot that day, and as Tom said, maybe rearing in the stalls that day from Caravaggio actually helped him. And he had a target, and he ran them down. But I thought they didn't get involved with intelligence cross this time. They kind of saved Harry Angel a little bit for a final spurt, but still kept him on the front end. So he was always going to quicken up. And Caravaggio, the way he raced, and he did rear again, and he was just slightly on the back foot in the early part of the race, was always going to find it hard off those slower fractions to make up the ground. That said, it's still very disappointing that he only, as Tom said, that he only finished marginally in front of his pacemaker. So he probably did run below form. But I just thought it was a tactical triumph for Clive Cox, and I thought they learned a lot from the Ascot race, and so I'd give credit to him. I'm sure Caravaggio did have a tough race at Ascot, and whether it would be as good again, who knows? But I wouldn't be as down on it as maybe Tom is. But
none of us are as down on anything as Tom is.
I'm not down on it. I just keep saying it was a very good performance, but I thought behind him they were really, really disappointing.
Okay.
None of them ran their. Well, obviously something's gone on that has resulted in it becoming a strange race in behind him, because whatever you say, Limato, Tasleet, the Tin Man are better than Brando, Growl and Intisab, and they didn't finish that way. We know that, but that's not what happened. Now maybe they all left their race behind at Ascot, but in general form, if you're looking at it cold, if you came down from the moon and looked at that race, you'd say that doesn't fit. That's all I'm saying. The form doesn't fit. The winner does. No problems with the winner at all. But the rest of it is all jumbled up. And that always makes me think that something funny went on.
Okay. We've sort of covered the Nunthorpe, but I just want to get a quick word on each of your selections for that. Do you think Lady Aurelia can be beaten? Nick, we'll kick off with you.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting. One of your questions was about Batash, Charlie Hills's horse. He's quite interesting because...
he's very, very quick, isn't he?
Yeah, and last season he didn't go on. He won on his debut at Bath, and I think they sent him to Ascot after that, and he just didn't go on at all. So they had him gelded. And that was the key for me, because he came back this season and won easily, but he backed that up with another good performance. So it does suggest that he's more the finished article now. They've sorted him out. The gelding operation has obviously helped. And he looks like he's going to maintain his form much better. And I think the plan is to go to Glorious Goodwood with him for the big sprint there. I think it's either a Group 2, Group 3
King
race.
George.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if he wins there, and I expect the track to suit him there, because he seems all about speed. So I think he's a legitimate player in the Nunthorpe.
So he'd be your selection?
It's a bit early, yeah. I'd like to have a proper look through the market, but I certainly wouldn't dismiss him, because I think he's the one that's on the up, and he does look very, very quick from what I've seen of him.
I really loved his performance at Sandown. It was magic. Paddy, what price can you get about Batash for the Nunthorpe again? Just remind us.
Yeah, he's 6-1 second favourite behind Lady Aurelia, who's 8-11. But
Okay.
he's 3-1 favourite for the King George at Goodwood. I think he kind of needs to go and win that. And the one thing about the Nunthorpe, especially for anti-post, it's like York, the ground can change very, very quickly. So conditions could be, are very, very important. Obviously, particularly in sprints, I think. So I think you'd be holding fire probably on your anti-post bets, because Lady Aurelia might, if the conditions don't come up to suit, she's obviously no sort of price odds on,
Yeah, okay. Tom, any thoughts on the Nunthorpe?
Plenty of thoughts. Whether there are any interesting ones, I don't know.
Who would your selection be?
Well, I was saying earlier that Lady Aurelia had run at York. Of course, she hadn't. Acapulco came on to the Nunthorpe and got beat afterwards. I don't know. I mean, the more I look at it, the more in these big races you want to be at anything but the front of the market. So I'll be looking at something totally different. I was disappointed with Marcia. She went on sort of unnoticed at the weekend, because everyone was all those other races on all over the country. But I thought she was really disappointing in the Sapphire? I can't remember what race it was in Ireland where she got beaten by Caspian Prince. Beat her. She just looked a bit funny. She pulled a bit hard and then didn't really go through with her effort when I expected her to. I'm a big fan of hers, but she's got York form. Batash is interesting. I did a Cheltenham preview. I did a Royal Ascot preview before.
Cheltenham previews already.
I know.
Crikey.
Before Royal Ascot last year, and Charlie Hills came up to me and said that his best chance by miles was Batash, and he was at least as fast as Muharrar had ever been as a 2-year-old, and that he had a great chance of winning whatever race he ran in, the Windsor Castle, whatever he ran in, and that afterwards, he sort of lost the plot. He went nuts in the stalls that day and never recaptured his form. I think he was third one day to Mrs. Danvers at Newmarket at the end of the season, but he never really sort of sorted himself out. Obviously, the gelding operation has helped massively with him, and he broke the track record at Sandown. He's clearly very fast. Thing is, it's York, isn't it? And I think, as I was saying earlier, I think York and Ascot are the two best tracks for course form in the country. I don't like taking Sandown form to York. I don't like taking Sandown form to Ascot and Newbury form. I like Ascot form at Ascot and York form at York. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, no doubt I'll be on the day. I'll be going for something that's run well around the Knavesmire.
I had a quick look at the race, and I thought one that looked quite a big price was Profitable. He got bumped out the stalls in the race last year, so you can forgive him that. I think he was about 16-1 or something like that. And if he ran, he ran really good race behind Lady Aurelia at Ascot, I think he could have been a big price.